wanted to do a pre-season food plot review video of 5 or 6 of my food plots and how they turned out this summer, and some of the things I learned along the way. We'll start out with my garage plot. This plot has been planted in summer annuals and fall annuals last season. With a good rye cover crop and moisture in the soil, I worked the ground and planted Northwood's Seclusion 360 Clover Chicory Blend. It has done quite well despite the lack of rain, and now is about 12 to 14 inches tall. This is my 3-year-old Seclusion 360 plot and my May planted soybeans and corn overseeded with brassicas. This seclusion plot really gets browsed hard by the local deer. Using multiple plot doctor applications of the soil conditioner and foliar fertilizer has it really looking good now. I mowed the poulting chicory stems and blooms this past August. With a good rye cover crop and plenty of moisture in the soil, the seeds were broadcast and cultipacked, and then I planted the corn with a 2-row planter. The soybeans and corn really struggled with the drought. They were hammered hard by the local deer and the woodchucks. Thankfully, by mid-July, the rains were more frequent and they recovered well, helping my late July broadcast overseeding of brassicas germinate and thrive also. That young buck sure seems to approve. Just east of my last food plot location, where it's bisected by my tractor and equipment 2-track, and there's about 1.5 to 2 acres where I've planted and broadcast soybeans and used the 2-row corn planter. This area gets a lot of deer use in mid to late fall. It's close to natural wetlands, and the giant miscanthus screening that I planted 5 or 6 years ago hides me well as I'm going to and from my hunting locations. I added a sightline separator of Northwood's HD plot screen this year as well. It's done great with the harsh conditions. The late July overseeded brassicas seem to allow the soybeans to grow in set pods. Most of the brassicas and beans are between 18 and 24 inches tall now, and all my plots are pepper approved. I took an area this year with poor clay soils and converted it into alfalfa. Deer stage here often as they come out of the bedding areas to the north, and my goal this year was to rotate several of my annual plots into perennials and reduce my herbicide exposure to the ground. I set up an exclusion cage in the alfalfa in mid-August, and man, are they browsing it hard. One thing I've learned over the years of habitat and food plotting is to plan on diversity. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say. I've made some big changes in my hidden destination plot this season. I've always planted soybeans, occasionally some soybean and corn mix, and always overseeded with cool season annuals, and I've had great success. It's probably been 15 to 20 years since I've had perennials growing in this area. This year I planted Northwood's Seclusion 360, 60% chicory, 40% clover, for several reasons in this field. Deer browse issues, reduced tillage, reducing herbicide use, less long-term maintenance, and to keep high-quality food in this plot from early snow melt to deep snow cover in late December or mid-January. By the way, the tractor tracks that you see in the field are from the foliar fertilizer application that I did just a couple of days before the drone video. They will disappear in a week or so, as clover and chicory really don't mind being driven on occasionally. The east side plot was planted with corn and beans in mid-June, mainly due to moisture conditions that I had to wait for. The deer browse was heavy from the start, with nearby bedding on each side of that location. I overseeded with Northwood Sweet Feast during a light rain that turned into a straight downpour for the afternoon and remainder of the evening. And after 4 weeks, the brassicas are growing well and protecting the beans a little bit also. Here's a few takeaways from this past spring and summer's planting experiences. Cover crops of rye, crimson clover, wheat, or oats are very beneficial. They'll retain moisture, nutrients, and they're going to add organic matter. Even using minimal tillage, the cover crop thatch is still working for you, holding moisture and the morning dew. The Plot Doctor liquid lime, calcium, pentacal, and foliar fertilizer applications really helped with growth and the drought recovery. When planting a chicory and clover blend in shade or during drought conditions, you're going to notice the chicory does better at first, but both will even out as time goes on. Deer browse is a fact of life, especially when it's dry, because the forage just can't recover as soon as it could. So that means you've got to have more available for them. When Mother Nature doesn't cooperate, she often can make us look like a fool. But when she does work with us, we can look like kings. Nothing beats a good rain. Here's a fast-paced food plot trail tour from a deer's view. Starting out at the Hourglass food plot and then crossing the Access 2 track and entering the new food plot trail heading west, it connects with the Seclusion destination plot. Then heading south, leaving the destination plot, entering a conifer grove with a small internal food plot clearing. It then enters the corn beans brassica food plot and exits the plot through a small gap in the switchgrass plot divider, then moving in to the east in a chicory clover plot. We then meet the screening junction and head south again along a Seclusion trail bordered by 3 rows of spruce on the east and native warm season grasses on the west, making a slight southeast turn through a narrow food plot trail that enters the north end of my garage plot. Then traveling south towards the end where another bedding area lays right on the edge of it. The purpose of this food plot trail system is to move the deer naturally as they feed from my northern core of the property south up through all the food sources. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any content. Thanks a lot for watching another Habitat Solutions 360 video. And remember, good luck and good habitat.